Good day ma'am, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. By the way, I am Militar Benjamin, and I am going to discuss the Spanish and American Moro policies on Earth. In this topic, I'll give a brief discussion on some of the objectives of the Spaniards and Americans in engaging to the Moros of Mindanao. So, the first objective was the political objective. The subjugation of the Moros and their incorporation the Philippine political system. So, for Spain, their political objective is to Hispanize the Christian Philippine colony, while the Americans is to prepare Moros for the modern democratic and independent Philippine nation. The second objective is the economic objective. So, in this objective, both Spaniards and Americans have the same. They both want to exploitations of natural resources of Mindanao and Sulu, and the reorientation of Moro trade and commerce to Philippine market. So, to do this, both power encourage the migration of Filipino settlers from the north to Mindanao, and the American were far more successful than the Spaniard on doing this. The third objective is the missionary objective. For Spaniards, they dream of making over the Muslim into little brown Hispanized Christian. So, ano itong little brown Hispanized Christian? Ito yung mga tao na nai-adapt nila yung practices and religion ng mga Spaniards. While for the Americans, they wish to win them over to civilized way. So, for Americans, they were able to achieve this when Manila emerged as the national center for university education during the 1920s. The Americans was successfully able to influence the returning Filipino student to the Philippines from the American.
Bago natin talakayin ang ating paksa tungkol sa kung ano ang pagkakaiba at pagkakatulad ng American Moro at Spanish, ay ano nga ba ang Moro? Moro are the native Muslim inhabitants in the Philippines. They are the descendants of Malay, Arab, and Indian migrants in the Philippines from as early as 14th century. Ang pangalan na Moro ay galing sa Spanish word na Moors na tumutukoy sa mga Muslim na namuno o di kaya naghari noon sa Iberian Peninsula noong panahong 1492. At ang mga Spanish naman ay original na galing sa Iberian Peninsula, at ito yung lugar na pinamunuan ng mga Muslim noong panahon na iyon. So what are the similarities and differences of the American Moro and Spanish in terms of policies or objectives? There are three objectives that these two colonial powers have the similarities and differences. This is the economic objective, missionary objective, and political objective. Number 1. Economic objective. The exploitation of natural resources of Mindanao and Sulu and the reorientation of Moro trade and commerce to Philippine market. Number 2. Missionary objective. Spaniards dream of making over the Muslim to Hispanized Christian as they had the majority of lowland Filipino. But American Moro didn't seek to indoctrinate the Moro with the teaching of Christian religion, but to civilize them in terms of American values. The last one is the political system or political objective. Spain thought no further the Moro incorporation into the Spanish Christian Philippine colony.
Good day everyone, I am Abdul Hashi Vrascal, and for today's topic we are going to discuss about the Spanish-Moro War. But before that, let's have an idea what is Spanish-Moro War. During the Spanish-Moro conflict, Filipino Sagupaan Castilla Moro was a series of battles in the Philippines lasting over several centuries. It began during the Spanish era and lasted until the Spanish-American War, when Spain finally began to subjugate the Moro people after centuries of poor attempt to do so. These are the 6 stages that happened during the Spanish-Moro War. First, the Brunei cut-off. Second is the Spanish to establish colony in the Mindanao. Third is the retaliatory of the Moro. And fourth is the abandonment of Spanish fort in Zamboanga. Fifth is the reoccupation of Zamboanga. And the last is the decline of the Sultanate. During the Spanish colonization, the Mindanao, Sulu, and Palawan was frequently attacked by the colonizer. During that day, as I've said earlier, there were 6 stages that happened. First is the Brunei cut-off, which aimed to eliminate the supposed arrival of Spain in the Philippines. Spain successfully did it, and they successfully won against Brunei, and when that happened, they declared the Philippines as the vassal state of the Spain. The second stage was Spanish to establish colony in Mindanao, was when Spanish attempt to reduce the Muslim Moro rules in Mindanao. They want the people of Minsupala to acknowledge Spanish over sovereignty. They also want to promote trade with them. Spanish want to bring an end to Moro raids on the Christianized settlement, and lastly, they want to Hispanize and Christianize the Moro or the people of Minsupala. And that's all. And here Mr. Kawasa to introduce you to the third stage of colonization Moro War.
The third stage was the Retaliatory of the Moros. This is when the Moros decided to start counter-offensive attacks against the Spanish and Visayas. The invasion to free Visayas as they took advantage of the threat posed by the Dutch. And this stage is, ito yung the Spaniards is nag-build sila ng port sa Zamboanga, thus the battle ended here with a draw. That was the third stage. The fourth stage was the abandonment of the Spanish fort in Zamboanga or the Fort Wars. So ito yung time na nakita ng mga Moro ang arangkada or effort ng mga Espanyol na i-control ang Mindanao. So the Spanish decided to conquer the Sultanate of Maguindanaw and Sulu. So sa time na to is a peace treaty with Maguindanaw in 1645 and Sulu in 1646 happened. So eventually is iniwan ng Espanyol ang Mindanao, and sa war na naganap is nanalo ang Moro because the Spanish withdraw their forces. That was the fourth stage of the Spanish-Moro War.
Zamboanga. Ang mga Spaniards ay bumalik sa kanilang tirahan sa Zamboanga mula noong 1780 na inabando at muling itinayo ang sunod na taon. Ang mga Christian sa Sulu muli ng sari-saring pananaw dahil sa simula ng pagkatayo ulit ng tahanan na ito. Si Azimuddin ang sultan sa Sulu. Si Sultan Sulu na Catholic Sultan sa Sulu na bumigay ng permisyo upang bukasan ang kanya-kanyang misyon sa Hulu, kung saan ito ay naging resulta ng pagkatapon ng kanyang mga kapatid, resulta ng pagkawala ng kanyang mga kapatid. Sa naging desisyon nito niya rito sapagkat ay dapat ay may karapatan pamunta sa Manila upang maging isang lubos na Katolik. at siyang pinangalanan na Fernando. Sa katapusan, nagiging magandang formation ang mga British sa buong invasion sa Manila, kung saan naging resulta ng pagkakaisa ng Spaniards at mga Moro.
After everyone discussed about the stages of the during the Spanish and Moro Wars, Spanish to establish colony in Mindanao, the Brunel cut off, the retaliatory of the Moros. Then the fourth stage was the abandonment of Spanish Fort in Zamboanga. The fifth stage was the reoccupation of Zamboanga. Then lastly ay yung tatalakayin ko ngayon, which is the decline of the Sultanate. So the decline of the Sultanate, this is the time when they witnessed the decline of the Sultanates. This was also the time when the Sulu archipelago became the focus of the European rivalry. Spaniards were alarmed by the activities of the European powers and posed a threat to their hold on their archipelago. The Moro resistance was weakened by the war. Spaniards were able to organize the government in Mindanao, and the Jesuit missionary of work explained. So, ang decline of Sultanate during the Spanish-Moro Wars, ang pinakahuling stage sa anim na stages noong panahon ng panahon na yun. Ito ang panahon na nakita ng mga Moro kung paano unti-unting dinikline at nawawala ang sultanato ng mga Moro. Which is Sultanate government ay isa sa dahilan kung bakit mahirap sakupin ng mga mananakop ang Mindanao dahil sa strong government nito, which is the Sultanate. Nangyari din ito kung paano pinokus ng mga European rivalry ng mga Moro ang kalupaan at sakop na lugar ng Sulu. Sila ang humawak sa Sulu sa loob ng mahabang panahon at hindi tumigil ang mga Moro na ipaglaban ang lugar sa kanila. Dapat at dahil din doon ay parang nawawalan na ng puwersa ang mga Moro dahil sa pagkakasakop sa ibang lugar, partikular na sa Sulu. At nagplanong magpatayo ng panibagong political government ang mga Espanyol at lalong paigtingin ang kanilang puwersa. Noong nangyari ang stage na ito noong taong 1718, ang fort ay nasakop at napaigting. Pinaigting din ang puwersa ng Sulu at Iranon noong 1720 to 1721, ngunit sa kasamaang palad ay natalo pa rin sila ng mga Espanyol kahit na marami ang kanilang kagamitang pandigma at tauhan upang lumaban sa kabila nun, kahit na yung Sultanate government ay nawawala at hindi katanggap-tanggap sa mga Moro, ay kailangan pa din nilang tanggapin ang Kristyanismo.